Tyrese Haliburton just ripped the heart out of the top-seeded Cleveland Cavaliers with a dagger three with just 1.1 seconds left on the clock. And here's the kicker. It's the second time in 7 days he's hit a go-ahead shot in the final seconds of a playoff game. All from a guy who's apparently overrated. This isn't luck. This is a player stepping into the moment. Again, the Indiana Pacers, the 4th seed everyone expected to bow out quietly, just walked into Cleveland, won 2 straight playoff games, and now they're heading back to Indianapolis with a 2-0 lead and all the momentum. And get this, Donovan Mitchell dropped 48 points. That should be enough to win you a playoff game, but it wasn't, because in the final 47.9 seconds, the Pacers outscored Cleveland 8-0. Haliburton missed a free throw, got his own rebound, reset the play, and pulled up from the top of the key to silence the arena. Now the Pacers are 2 wins away from knocking out the number 1 seed, and suddenly, the entire East looks wide open. So let's talk about it. Do the NBA playoffs have an Indiana Pacers problem? The Pacers weren't supposed to be here. Not like this. Not up 2-0 on the number 1 seed in the East. Not making the Cavaliers look like they're the ones playing with house money. Look, coming into this series, Cleveland was the favourite. Rightfully so. Top-seeded, best offense in the league, a top-tier defense, 3 All-Stars, and home court advantage. The Pacers? Fun, fast, high-scoring, but most people saw them as a stepping stone, a team that could make it exciting, but wouldn't really threaten a healthy Cavs squad. Game 1 changed that, just a bit. Cleveland was without Darius Garland, still managing through his toe injury, but the Cavs kept it close, and Indiana found just enough rhythm to steal one. At that point, most fans chalked it up to bad shooting luck or rust. No panic. But Game 2, that's when things got serious. Garland was still out. Then, Evan Mobley, the newly crowned Defensive Player of the Year, is ruled out with a left ankle injury from Game 1. DeAndre Hunter, one of their key wings off the bench, also unavailable. And even with all of that, the Cavs still should have won. Donovan Mitchell dropped 48 points. He was electric, scoring from everywhere, playing hero ball, and for 47 minutes and change, it looked like that would be enough. But then, Haliburton hits 1 free throw, misses the next, gets his own rebound, steps back, top of the arc, money. Final score, 120-119. Indiana stuns Cleveland, again. So here's the reality check. This isn't just about injuries anymore. This is about momentum, execution, and a team that might be growing to something scary. Is Indiana just hot, or are they a real threat to shake up the East? We're about to find out. Here's the thing. This isn't just a hot streak. It's not luck. The Indiana Pacers are built to create chaos. And right now, the Cavs are trapped in it. Let's start with Tyrese Haliburton. He was quiet for most of Game 2. Through 3 quarters, he looked more like a facilitator than a scorer. Probing, directing traffic, keeping the pace up. But in the 4th, he's flipped the switch. 11 of his 19 points came in the final 12 minutes. That game winner wasn't just about the shot, it was about feel, about knowing when it's your moment. Haliburton didn't panic when he missed that second free throw. He stayed locked in, grabbed his own rebound, reset the play, and drained a cold-blooded 3 with 1.1 seconds left. That's poise, that's playoff DNA. But this isn't just a one-man act. Myles Turner and Aaron Naismith both gave the Pacers 23 points, and those buckets weren't empty calories. Turner hit big shots in momentum moments, cleaned the glass and protected the rim just enough to make Cleveland think twice in the paint. Naismith, on the other hand, is the guy who never stops moving. He's defending, 1 through 3, switching screens, knocking down catch-and-shoot threes. He's not flashy, but every coach in the league wants a guy like Naismith in their foxhole during playoff wars. And then there's Andrew Nembhard, maybe the most underrated player on the floor. That steal on Max Strus with 27.5 seconds left, that wasn't random. He read the set, anticipated the pass, and jumped it clean. It wasn't just a good defensive play, it was the moment everything shifted. That turnover gave Indiana life when they should have been dead. But if there's a glue holding this all together, it's Pascal Siakam. He's the only player on the Pacers roster with a ring. He's not putting up 30 a night, but that's not his job. He's giving Indiana exactly what they need: stability. In Game 2, he put up a modest 12, 6, and 4. Siakam's been a key when Haliburton sits. running offense through the post, finding cutters, making quick reads. Defensively, he's switching onto guards, contesting at the rim, and bringing that big game calm that's hard to measure, but impossible to miss. This is why Indiana traded for him, not for the flash, for the foundation. And right now, Siakam is giving them structure in a series that's all about composure and chaos. Let's talk matchups. Cleveland, when healthy, leans on half-court structure and interior defense. But now, Garland's still out, Mobley, the defensive player of the year, is in street clothes, DeAndre Hunter, a key wing, is unavailable. The Cavs look slower, smaller, and flat-out exhausted trying to keep up with Indiana's tempo. And here's where Rick Carlisle is at his best. He's letting the Pacers play to their strengths, not overcoaching, not micromanaging, just empowering. They're pushing pace, collapsing defenders with constant movement, and spreading the floor with 5 guys who can all dribble, pass, and shoot. Indiana is scoring almost 120 points per game this postseason. In clutch time, they've closed out games with poise, not panic. Those are fingerprints of a team that's not just surviving, they're evolving. Boston still looms, and the Knicks bring physicality. But here's the thing. Indiana's playing like a team with nothing to lose, and that's the most dangerous type of team in the playoffs. Haliburton is growing into a closer. Turner's embracing his leadership role. Siakam is anchoring both ends. This isn't just a fun run anymore. The Pacers are officially a problem, and Cleveland's not the only team that should be worried. Let's take a step back and talk individuals, because this series is being shaped by a few key players who are showing up and a few who physically can't. First off, Donovan Mitchell. What more can you ask from the guy? In Game 2, he went off for 48 points, shooting 50% from the field. He was attacking, pulling up, getting to the rim, doing literally everything in his power to carry the Cavs. But that's the problem. He was alone. Without Darius Garland to help run the offense, Mitchell is being asked to initiate and finish almost every possession. It's too much. He's playing like a superstar, but he's being forced into superhero mode every night, and that's not sustainable in a long series. Then there's the absence of Evan Mobley, who sprained his ankle in Game 1 and missed Game 2. That's a massive blow. Mobley just won Defensive Player of the Year, and without him, the Cavs are getting beat in the paint and exposed in transition. Add DeAndre Hunter to the list, a key 3-and-D guy off the bench. His thumb injury took away a critical wing defender and secondary scorer, leaving the Cavs scrambling to cover the Pacers' depth. Meanwhile, on Indiana's side, the Stars aren't just playing well, they're rising to the moment. Haliburton has had 2 quiet starts, but he's closed both games like a seasoned vet. That fourth quarter takeover in Game 2, capped by the go-ahead 3, shows his growing control over playoff tempo. Myles Turner has anchored the middle and provided consistent offense. Aaron Naismith is doing the dirty work, chasing shooters, knocking down open looks, and forcing Cleveland into mismatches. And then there's Pascal Siakam, steady, reliable, and under control. He may not be putting up huge stat lines, but he's the adult in the room. His decision-making has been vital in late-game scenarios. Bottom line, the Pacers are getting contributions across the board. The Cavs, they're relying on Mitchell and praying for help that just isn't coming. And that's how you lose control of a playoff series, even as the higher seed. So here's the million-dollar question. Are the Indiana Pacers real contenders, or are they just catching Cleveland at the right time? Let's break it down. On one hand, yeah, injuries matter. Cleveland is missing key guys. Garland's absence limits their perimeter playmaking. Mobley's absence, that's massive. He's their rim protector, switch defender, lob threat, everything. And Hunter's a loss on the wing. So sure, if you're the Cavs, you can point to the injuries, but that's only part of the story. Indiana isn't just winning, they're dictating how the game is played. They flipped the series from a grinded-out half-court battle into a track meet. The Cavs want to control the pace and force you to execute in the half-court. But Indiana, they're racing out on every rebound, pushing off makes, and catching Cleveland flat-footed over and over. And it's not just raw speed, it's structured chaos. Carlisle has them spaced out with multiple playmakers on the floor at all times. Haliburton runs the show, but Nembhard, Siakam, even Naismith can initiate sets. The offense never stops moving. And that movement is forcing Cleveland's defenders, especially the guys who aren't used to big playoff minutes, into constant decisions. Do I switch? Do I stay home? Do I chase over or go under? And with Mobley gone, there's no eraser at the rim to clean up the mistakes. The Pacers are punishing hesitation. Their offense ranks top 3 in the postseason so far. They're shooting efficiently, they're closing games with confidence, and most importantly, they're composed. That's what separates a fun underdog from a real threat. Game 2 was the perfect test. Road environment, star on the other team goes nuclear, late game chaos. And Indiana still found a way to win. That's not a fluke, that's growth. Now let's zoom out. If Indiana finishes this series, whether it's in 4, 5, 6, or 7, they'll walk into the conference finals with real confidence. They'll face either Boston or New York next, and while both those teams are physical, Indiana's ball movement and pace will be a challenge for anyone. If Haliburton continues growing into a closer, if Siakam stays steady, and if Carlisle keeps pressing the right buttons, there's no reason this can't be a conference finals team, even more. So here we are. The top-seeded Cavaliers are down 0-2 heading into enemy territory. And the Indiana Pacers? They've gone from fun playoff team to a full-blown problem. And it's not just about who's hurt on Cleveland's side, because what Indiana is doing right now goes deeper than that. They're playing fast, they're playing loose, and they're playing together. Halliburton is turning into a superstar, not just putting up numbers, but delivering when it matters most. Siakam is anchoring this group like a guy who's been there before. Turner, Naismith, Nembhard, all stepping up in their roles and doing the little things that win playoff games. Meanwhile, Cleveland's running out of bodies and running out of time. If they don't respond in Game 3, this thing might be over before it even feels like it started. So here's the final question. Is this Indiana team built to crash the East Finals, or even more? Because what we're seeing right now isn't just a playoff surge, it might be the rise of a new power in the conference. And if you're Boston, New York, or anyone else with title hopes, you better start watching the Pacers a little closer. What do you think? Is this just the perfect storm, or is Indiana the real deal? Drop your take in the comments. I want to know. Is Haliburton that guy? Can the Cavs come back? And where does this series go from here? If you enjoy the breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell so you don't miss the rest of this wild playoff ride.